This one's for you, Dojee. When we read Jojo's parts 1 through 3, which you can watch via the playlist linked in the description, we often made fun of the cast. Villains of the week, certainly, but the main men weren't off the table either. We poked fun at Kakyoin for being a background character, Polnareff for being the butt of every joke, and Avdol for accomplishing basically nothing. The only thing we could think to make fun of the Joestars for was being too masculine and handsome. But in retrospect, Stardust Crusders actually had a fairly solid central cast. Sometime later, I still fondly remember these characters and have a strong impression of each character's nuances. At the time of completion, I considered Kakyoin my favorite because I believe his final monologue encompassed the bond felt between each of our heroes excellently, but I would be remiss not to acknowledge perhaps the most interesting member of the squad. I'm Zero, this is Kato, and today, let's talk about Iggy. Did you know Kato is a two-man operation? That means the few dollars his channel makes are split between Hoodie and I. To go full-time, we need your support. Go to patreon.com/KatoYT and give just $1 to get access to our Discord, or buy a shirt at KatoMerch.com. With your help, we're one step closer to becoming true anime gods. As a dog of small stature who happens to possess a stand in a world where his species has been utterly domesticated, Iggy takes great pride in his independence. He abandoned his own wealthy owners after deeming himself superior to humanity, and finds joy in making fools of those who try to tame him, be they random dog catchers in the streets of New York or Polnareff trying to tell him what to do. He's crafty, as we see when they try to use his favorite treat to get him to comply, the type of rat to seize the cheese and dodge the trap. Even the perpetually cool and collected Jotaro isn't exempt from Iggy's japes. Any attempt to impede on his personal freedom will be met with impetuous defiance. Because of this, he of course takes issue with being thrust into the Joestar's war against Dio, a battle he has no personal stake in to begin with. He feels no drive to throw his own comfortable life on the line to fight alongside those who, aside from Avdol, he doesn't know. But since he's here and they have coffee-flavored gum, he may as well stick around and screw with the humans when he gets the chance. However, his selfishness was quickly exposed during the group's encounter with Bagul.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh no, that's just Baffool. You don't gotta worry about Baffool.
When he refused to cooperate with the Jojo Co, despite being the only one present who could trace the enemy's stand due to his extraordinary sense of smell. Beyond just trying to abandon the group, when things got tough, he attempted to sacrifice Jotaro to allow his own escape. I've seen people attribute his actions during this encounter and the part as a whole to cowardice, but despite his intimidation at the mysterious and powerful stand, I don't think that's warranted. Later in the manga, he demonstrates the willingness to battle against a strong stand user by himself. It's just a lack of allegiance to our cast. Willingly or not, Iggy was instrumental in defeating this difficult stand user, first by locating him, and by threatening him enough to allow Jotaro to get in close and solve the issue. Jotaro was understanding, however, recognizing that this fight has nothing to do with Iggy. This makes the dog feel somewhat disappointed in himself, and he decides to earn their trust, and their coffee-flavored gum. Since he's been able to flourish so well on his own, he's quite confident of his abilities, even mentally equating the strength of his versatile stand to Star Platinum. Like other stand-wielding animals, he's quite intelligent, and like Mannish Boy, Iggy even considers average human intelligence lacking. This, combined with his confidence and his ability to pretend to be an ordinary dog, gives him the leeway to wander around on his own. This ultimately results in him locating Dio's domicile when he stumbles across two dog heads impaled on a spike, where he single-podedly dispatches the guard hawk stand user keeping watch for Jojo's group. Even at this point, Iggy doesn't really consider Dio to be his fight. Despite the confidence that he could prevail in battle against this hawk's ice-based stand, he has no intention to engage, simply because it doesn't concern him. When the boy who owns the two dogs arrives, searching for them, the hawk automatically attacks, viewing him as an invader, but Iggy swoops in to defend him, unwilling to stand idly by as a boy who loves dogs gets hurt. This feels contrary to his implied stance of dog ownership, but this is the kind of character beat that makes you infer about the character's personal history. As a puppy, Iggy was likely bought as a present for a young child. He seems to view dog ownership as an unfair restraint of his kind, but he clearly appreciates the mutual love between a kid and their dog. It's just something he's too stubborn to allow himself. Now, Iggy's battle against this hawk is unfortunately left out of the OVA to make room for other great creative encounters like the first Darby brother, but it is a fairly pivotal moment in Iggy's character arc. After emerging victorious from a hard-fought battle, Iggy swears revenge against the villain who manipulated his avian foe and unleashed him on this innocent neighborhood. He leads the vanquished Dio squad to the vampire's lair with a determined gleam in his eye. Jojo's is a very violent shonen manga. There are more than a few gruesome depictions of dead or dying animals, particularly canines, and one of the worst occasions was perpetrated by Dio himself, simply to take away something Jonathan Joestar loved. As soon as we were introduced to this character, both Hoodie and I predicted that he would suffer a terrible fate. What I didn't expect was that his character would be so deeply characterized, or that his motivations would develop the way they do over the course of this short arc. Which is why I think Iggy's pain is so much more memorable to fans than the much more sadistic scene of Jonathan's dog being burnt alive. He's part of the gang, thing, and seeing him get so badly hurt after being a source of comedy and entertainment for us feels especially wrong. It's also why I find Iggy's self-sacrifice to protect Polnareff much more impactful than Avdol's. Avdol's sacrifice came at such an early point in their journey that it felt like we hardly got to know him. Iggy felt like a familiar member of the group who had already managed to surprise us a few times. Polnareff is the person that Iggy butts heads or generally toyed with most often, and therefore the person he seems least likely to stick his neck out to save. Unbeknownst to our charismatic quadruped, Polnareff's interference in Dio's attempt to finish Jotaro off gave our lead the opportunity to severely injure the immortal, but that isn't why he did it. Rather than Avdol, who seemingly always got along with Iggy, or Jotaro, who was obviously necessary if they hoped to defeat Dio, Iggy sacrificed himself for the only one who resented him. It's clear that in their short time together, he realized how important these people are to him, and that he doesn't want to see any of them get hurt. He was too late to protect Avdol, but he could at least help them get revenge for his loss. Despite, or perhaps because of his inhumanity, Iggy became one of the plot's more worthwhile characters regardless of his lack of dialogue. As a stubborn defender of the weak, I think it's safe to say he makes Jonathan proud. I hope you enjoyed this installment of Kato's Year of Classics, where we'll be discussing 12 classic anime monthly. By now we've already released 2 Yu Yu Hakusho videos as well as Hoodie's video about the different directorial decisions of the Jojo OVA, and we have 2 more coming up next month. If you enjoyed the video, please consider heading over to patreon.com/KatoYT and pledging at least $1 to gain access to our Patreon-exclusive Discord server, or $10 like Spencer IRuleAtGames to get a personal shoutout at the end of our videos. If you're a fan of our work, head to KatoMerch.com to get some Kato merch. Links to everything in the doobly-doo. To support us non-financially, follow us on Twitter, Ora that like button, and comment on and share this video with the JoJo fan in your life. Thank you all for listening to my dumb rants. Subscribe for more.